Is July 30th, 2022. I'm Todd Dunn, and today I'm aboard my 1972 Allied Princess 36 Seaquestor. I'm alone today, so what I thought I would do is just a quick little demonstration. So what I'm going to do today is take Seaquestor off the dock single-handed, and we're going to motor around the harbor a little bit, and then I will bring the boat back onto the dock single-handed. Now I am on a finger pier in a slip, and I normally share the double width slip with another boat which is on the finger pier to my starboard, but he's gone today, which makes this a little easier, but the procedure is the same whether or not he's there. So the plan, as I said, is to take the boat off and motor around a bit and then bring the boat back in, and I'm going to do it all myself. So before we go, I'm just going to talk a little bit about the lines and how I have them set up, and then we'll get going. And because I'm going to be on and off the boat during this process and have the camera set up back in the stern, you're probably not going to hear me, so I will explain what I'm going to do. So what I'm going to do once I have the engine started is, because this boat in reverse prop walks to port, when I start to back out, if I have the wheel behind me centered, the stern will turn to port, and that's not good. What I'd like to do is go more or less straight back. So I will, before I back out, turn the rudder to starboard. So that hopefully, once the boat gets moving, it will tend to want to go a little bit to starboard, which will compensate for the prop walk. And other than that, I'm just going to untie the lines, and let me show them to you. Seaquestor has a stern line. Then I have spring lines, but it's one line with a loop in the center that goes over my midships cleat, and it's tied off both forward and aft. So right now the wind is from astern, so it's working as an aft spring, and if the wind is on the bow, it works as a forward spring. And then up at the bow, I have a bow line. So the procedure, once we get the engine running and are ready to go, is going to be to get off the boat. I'm going to untie the bow line and the stern line, and then I will walk the boat back a little bit and take the spring line off. And once the spring line is off, I'll walk the boat back quite a bit further until my gate, which is right there, is back here at the end of the dock. And then I'm going to push the stern off to starboard, hop on the boat, and back out. This will make more sense when you see it. So let's get going. Okay, I've got the engine running. So the first thing I'm going to do before I untie any lines is I'm going to turn the wheel to starboard. So here it is. And that should be plenty to compensate for prop walk as soon as the boat gets moving. Of course, on a sailboat like this with a full keel, the boat tends to kind of go where it wants until it gets about 3 knots of way on, particularly in reverse. So I really don't know which way the boat's going to go when I back out, but I'm going to find out. So at this point, what I'm going to do is get off the boat and deal with my lines, and then when I'm ready to push off and reboard, I'm going to have a good look around and make sure nobody is coming in or going out that's going to be passing behind me during my departure. back out. And I'm just going to stir a little bit. We're off the dock. The only thing that's left is to back out and then turn the boat to starboard to get out of here. So, I'm just going to back a ways. A boat like this does not turn very sharply when you're not going very fast. Okay, put her in neutral. And forward, turn the wheel hard to starboard. A little juice. Rotate the boat. And we're off the dock. Easy as that. Now, because I'm going to be kind of busy during the actual approach, I'm going to explain what I'm doing before we get there. So what I'm going to do is go past the end of the marina and make a loop so that I can make a more or less straight in approach to my slip. Although I'm not going to make a straight in approach. I'm going to come in at an angle to my finger pier with the bow in, and that's intentional because I know that when I put the boat in reverse to stop it, the prop walk will pull the stern to port and basically straighten the boat out. Right now, the wind up there at my slip is sort of west-southwest. My slip is oriented east-west, and my finger pier is on the north side. And I'm going to come in port side 2. So what I want to do is, with this wind, it's going to do two things. It's going to want to blow the boat forward. So I'll probably stop when I still have a few feet to go forward, because I know that by the time I get off the boat will have been blown in a little bit. And also, because there's a south component and my finger pier will be to the north, the south component of the wind will blow the boat onto the finger pier. So basically, what I have to do is come in until at an angle, slight angle to the finger pier, bow in, and once I get to where I want to, I'll stop the boat and then hop off and secure the lines. What I'm going to do first is I will go up and I'll move the boat as needed and get that spring line on, and that will prevent the boat from being blown any further forward, and the spring will also tend to pull the boat in against the finger pier with this wind direction. And once that's done, I will come back and quickly tie the stern line off. Then I'll go forward and tie the bow line off, come back aboard and shut the engine down. And that's pretty much all there is to it. Now once I get the boat in to the slip, before I hop off, I will throw my stern line onto the dock. So there's no issue with that. Okay, I'm just gonna stop until we get up there and are making the final approach. Okay, I'm on my final approach. Just gonna go around a couple of boats ahead up here and make my turn to go into my slip. I'll check one more time to make sure nobody's overtaking me. And we're clear. Let's go. And my neighbor in the slip is not there, which makes it very easy today. I don't have to worry about rolling into him. Well, that's it. Single-handed, taking the boat off the dock and bringing it back in single-handed, with the exception of a little bit of an overzealous neighbor walking over to give me a hand when I didn't want one, since this was a demo of single-handed docking. Anyway, that's all there is to it. It's pretty easy if you plan ahead and take advantage of the characteristics of your boat and the wind and everything else. One of the biggest issues of single-handed docking really is people that come to give you a hand. Now, if they're really experienced and know what they're doing, they're not a problem. But often people will come in, and when you're coming in bow in, their first tendency is to take your bow line and snug it up. The problem with that is that particularly when the boat is blowing onto the dock, when they snug the bow line up, it swings the stern out. And if you're not off the boat yet, when they swing the sternway out, it may be very difficult to get off the boat even. Because if you have a boarding gate like I do that's a bit aft of midships, that gate will swing off the dock too. And I'm not a big one for jumping onto a dock from a boat that's moving away from it. So I usually, if somebody is coming to help, I say, no thank you, and try to convince them not to help me. Now, there is a captain of one of the big yachts here that does occasionally walk by when I'm coming in, and he knows what to do. He will come in and he will put my spring line on. He won't touch the bow or stern lines. So, and that's what the first line I want to go on, because in the worst case, if the wind was blowing me off the dock, once that spring line is on, I can put the boat in gear and turn the helm away from the dock, and the combination of the spring line and the engine pushing the boat forward and trying to turn the bow away will just suck the boat right into the dock. And normally idle engine speed is all that's needed. If the wind is blowing really hard, you might have to give it a little more throttle to suck the boat in, but it will come in and you won't have a problem. Anyway, hope you enjoyed this little video. If you did, please give me a thumbs up, and if you haven't, why don't you consider subscribing to my channel. Thanks for watching.